times. Queer times. Queer times.
Kristen.
Hey, Kristen, how's it going?
It's good, Harrison. How are you?
I'm really good.
You are? Welcome to Queer Times.
Welcome to Queer Times. Sorry, I'm like fully shell-shocked in this moment just because I'm in San Francisco. I don't have a permanent place to live yet.
Okay.
And that is making me feel absolutely crazy.
Right. So where are you staying?
I'm with a family friend.
Okay. With a family friend. That is so vague.
Well, it's like it's to explain it is it's layers.
Okay. All right. So family friend.
Uh-huh.
Is it comfortable?
Oh, totally.
Or is that a component? Right? You know, sometimes you're like, oh, you can stay with me. And you're like, that's great. And you mean it until like you get there. And then you're like, oh, wait.
Yeah.
It's a little awkward. Also, will they be listening to this podcast? And how deeply can we talk about this?
No.
Okay, great.
But also
great.
it is really comfortable. It's but it's like both. It's comfortable and also it's a component of me feeling crazy because I feel like I just need a place of my own for all my stuff. Like I'm still living out of a bag because all of my stuff was packed away in a storage unit until I get my permanent place. Because I haven't found San Francisco to be like scary or dangerous, but people say that cars do get broken into a lot. And I thought having every single thing I owned in my car probably wasn't the best idea.
That's not a good idea for anywhere.
That's true, except for P-Town.
Honestly, I don't think so. I think for like a couple days, but then eventually it's like, I feel like if no matter where you are, if a car is full of things and it's in a same spot or another spot for any extended period, like more than 3 days, I'd rob it.
Yeah, people will find it.
People will find it.
It's you. It's you.
It's me. Yeah, if there's one thing I'm known for, it's fast getaways.
Fast getaways and carjacking.
Yeah, just stealing things from cars and running quickly away without being spotted.
Totally.
I am not hard to spot. I think this is
How was Women's Week?
You're settling in.
Yes.
Okay. Women's Week was great.
Mm-hmm.
I did my solo show year-rounder, slayed, crushed, had a great time.
Work.
We did Star-Crossed, the astrology dating game show.
Was there love?
There was at least deep connection.
Ooh.
As it would be in Women's Week.
Yeah. Deep connection is the first step to love.
Correct. And the women that won, Gianna and Heidi, we then saw hanging out multiple days in a row after the show, and then saw them on the last night at a dance party together. And they even discussed like the prizes. You know, we give away a prize package if you're not familiar. Star-Crossed, the astrology dating game show, is a show that I co-created with my life partner, DJ KT, from the Misguided Astrology podcast. And she is an astrologer. And so single people submit their birth charts, and KT, here's what we ask. We ask, what are your pronouns and your birth dates, and what are the pronouns you're looking for? So it's all based on what are you into, when were you born, what are you looking for? And then KT pours over them, and then they meet on stage. She pairs two people with compatible birth charts. They meet on stage. They compete for a prize package worth like $500. But part of the prize package in P-Town is like a dune tour and like kind of some summer-based things. And so the point of all this is to say that one of the women came up to me and was like, hey, like, we don't know if we'll use it like right this second. Will it be good if we come back? And I'm like, oh, one lives in Kansas City. One lives like they're planning a trip to come visit. And I was like, okay, this is all right. We're on to something here.
I hear wedding bells. Is that the honk of a U-Haul?
It could be. It could be. So that was really great. And then we did a Foxy, which is the variety show that I created with all amazing women and them, theys, femmes and theys and gays, non-binary folks here in P-Town. And that crushed. And so, yeah, I feel like it was a successful Women's Week. I feel like, you know, Women's Week is something that's been going on. This is the 41st year. And it was started by the women innkeepers of Provincetown, and, you know, did a lot of work, and we're slowly trying to make sure that that baton gets passed down, and that this idea of Women's Week doesn't just end when our elders, who we love and respect, start kind of aging out of this sort of an experience, right? Like where we are getting younger folks involved. And it felt like that this year. It felt like we
Mm.
were getting younger folks involved. And so I think it was really successful. Thank you for asking.
I feel like the queer community in general is kind of having a pushback into like in real life meetups.
Yeah.
But I feel like especially lesbians, the sapphic inclined and queer women are like very much they want to be together, which I think is really fantastic.
I can't reiterate enough how difficult it is to be a person who can get pregnant right now.
Mm.
Like there really is this thing that I know that like for a lot of people this doesn't, and it honestly doesn't truly affect me anymore because my birthday days are kind of over, right? Like I'm basically out of eggs. Do you know what I mean? Like KT and I have this running joke that like every time I might be getting a period, she just envisions a little elf in my ovaries pulling out drawers, being like, "There's got to be one more in here. There's got to be one more egg to drop," right?
Totally,
And that's kind of
totally.
how we feel about it. But I cannot express enough that what's happening for people who can get pregnant, people with vaginas, is that we do want to be around each other because you can't describe what it feels like to have your autonomy taken away from you in such a serious way so quickly, right? And so
Yeah.
I think that is very true. And also it's starting to be those times where we have to gather in the shadows and start making plans.
Mm. The
You know?
debate, the constant debate and conversation around it is also, I imagine, very dehumanizing.
Yeah, and that's something I think the trans community I know that
Mm.
the trans community is also dealing with right now. This
Yeah.
idea of people who have no idea what it's like to exist, how you exist, debating your existence, right?
Mhm.
People who have no experience outside of a very rigid binary, like not even people who are not non-binary, but they're like pro-binary,
Yeah,
right?
oh,
Like
yeah.
they're just like really into binary.
Mhm.
And then they pontificate about what it's like to be somewhere in the middle or in a transition. I'm sure that is equally maddening.
Mhm.
But getting stuck with a kid, that seems
Right. I
so.
mean,
Yes,
actually,
there is that desire to gather.
yeah. I mean, that kind of rolls us right into something that happened this past week, which was there were screenshots of a group chat leaked
Oh,
amongst a young Republican organizational group.
yes, leaders.
And yeah, the leaders of this young Republicans group. And it's such a bummer. I mean, not a bummer, but it's the people defending these people have really run with the idea that it's young Republicans.
Hmm.
And it's so frustrating to watch people like JD Vance defend them in saying like, "Oh, they're just young people. Young guys tell really crude jokes. Like it's I would hate for a mistake like that to stick with them for the rest of their life." And I'm like,
Because they're white.
right. And I'm like, is this the same guy defending people in their late 20s and 30s and sometimes early 40s saying they're just kids, I don't want their life ruined? Is the same guy who's like defending like 11-year-olds carrying their rapists and incestual family members babies to term at 11?
Well, I don't know if you know this, but women mature faster than men.
But of
So no, I'm
course.
kidding. And just for the record, there were some women in this young Republican
Yeah.
leaders chat as well. It was not just men, but they were clearly all white,
Hmm.
um, and part of the problem. And
Saying the things we all know they say behind closed doors, you
correct,
know?
I think there's a distinction to be made here. Also, is that this wasn't a new young band. Right? Because there is this line of like, where is my free speech and what can I say privately versus publicly, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. If this was a young dance group, sorry, they're all white. It'd be terrible. It would be if this were a young Irish clogging
Mm.
organization who secretly had racist things and text message amongst each other. Okay, a little bit different. A little bit different because they're still terrible people, but their day job isn't to try to provide rights and make sure that our government runs efficiently and efficiently and evenly for all people involved.
Right.
That would be different. This is specifically a group of young people who are like, we're ready to become the next leaders in this country.
Right. And
And I
also
think,
specifically their job is to like bring new people in. And this is the type of ideology they're selling to bring new young people into the Republican organization.
well, no, this is just who they are and who they've always been. Now they're just not hiding it.
Oh, yeah. I'm just saying it's just showing exactly what the Republican Party is. This is the ideology that they're using to bring people in. It's not crass jokes and stuff. It's like they are trying to find people who would agree with them on these issues to bring them into the Republican Party.
Yeah. Yeah. Because racism. I don't know if you saw, did you see the guy at the rally who was like, God bless Trump? Did you see this?
Yeah, I did.
And then he says to some guy, he goes, "Ride your bike, you fig." Right? Did you see him yell that? And then as soon as he yelled it, and I don't know who this kid with a skateboard was, but so long story short, I'm going to set this up, and I promise you, this all comes back to where we are right now.
Okay.
And just as a demonstration of like who our young leaders are versus who terrible people young leaders are, right? We have this group of young Republicans who are just racist and homophobic and calling for gas chambers, et cetera, et cetera. So this past at the No Kings rally, there was a pro MAGA guy and a couple of his old white friends. You know the sweater vest, and he's walking khaki sweater vest,
Like a
belt.
golf tech polo.
Yeah, exactly, correct. And so he's I guess was at brunch for some reason, explain that, sir, but is leaving a restaurant where these protests are happening and starts chanting, "God bless Trump. Thank you, ICE. God bless Trump," right? And then some guy on a bicycle comes by. And as he's doing this, some little skater kid like kind of comes up and infiltrates and is like, "Yeah, fuck, yeah, God bless Trump," right? Like, and some guy on a bike says something, and the guy goes, the redneck guy, "God bless Trump," goes, "Yeah, ride your bike, you fig," right? And as soon as he says that, he adjusts his glasses. And the little kid, he's probably a fucking 20-year-old dude.
We're doing
But
it too.
This little skater guy comes up and just takes his glasses off of him and takes off running. And now this guy's like, "Whoa!" And he starts running. Boom, falls flat on his fucking face.
It was like flat on his face to a comic degree.
No, it was brilliant. The
Like,
universe.
This is his face hit and stopped, and the rest of his body kind of like went up over it. It was
incredible.
Rough. Yeah.
And you would think, and everyone laughed. And that's where it should have been over. At that moment, like when you do that and you fall and you're like, "Ah," but he doesn't. Now he's like gonna go for him. And this is the arrogance of, this is what we mean by misogyny and patriarchy. When you've been owned by an entire group of people, yet you get up and think you're still gonna fucking win, like that's a problem. So he gets up and he keeps running. And of course somebody trips him. And now his face is in a curb, right? Like now he's bleeding from his face. Doesn't stop him, gets up and goes again. Finally, a taller, young, I believe, Democrat, or I dare say, even Democratic Socialist, goes up to him and goes, "What are you doing, man? I'm sorry this happened to you." Apologizes. Says, "I'm sorry you're hurt, but you're going to get your ass kicked if you don't get out of here. Like, look around you. Have some awareness." Like, and that clip makes it where, and that's who our young adults are. Right? Like these are young adults who are raised with compassion and empathy, and like they realize this guy's like, "What are you doing? Like, you're going to get hurt. This is a mob. I can't control a mob." Right? Versus the young Republicans who just type slurs and would probably just beat somebody's ass if they were injured.
And like type slurs to the 10 other people they know they're allowed to say slurs around.
Right. You know? Right. Yeah, they had established that culture. It was just really interesting to me seeing the immediate compassion.
Mm-hmm.
There was another situation where a guy like grabbed a sign and turned around and ran nuts first into like a cross, like with a post, grabs a sign, turns around, nuts first, falls. And all the libtards were like, "Are you okay, man?" Do you know what I mean? Like that's basically what being a libtard means now, having a shred of human compassion for someone
empathy.
who's hurt. And then he gets up and just like, throws a fit and a tantrum.
But I feel like that's just like such a perfect example of the dichotomy we have going right now. It's like Republicans want their lives to be better while everyone else's lives get worse, and people on the left are more like, what if all of our lives were better?
All of our lives could be better. We could be the richest country in the world, and everyone could have what they needed. Right? Like that was a big talking point. Was it last week or this week where, people were talking about sending money to Argentina and to Israel, and those are both countries that have healthcare for all their citizens. And why aren't we mad about that? And we should be pretty mad about that.
I did see, and I was on TikTok late at night, and I was stoned out of my mind. But there was a clip of Donald Trump being confronted about sending money to Argentina. And basically, like, the question was like, why are you sending money to Argentina when farmers here in America are struggling so much? And his response was the first, again, I was high, maybe I should watch it again, but his response was the first time I was like, oh. Because he was like, you don't understand, these people in Argentina are dying. They have nothing. Like, they are dying. They have nothing. And I was like, oh, maybe interesting. Because it's always posed as like, oh, Trump's trying to like bail out his friends and enrich his friends. But I mean, if Argentina really is falling apart to the degree that like people aren't eating, people are dying, people have nothing, that is the type of humanitarian crisis I think the US should step in for, you know?
I know, but like we just don't know if that's real. So now I'm like, is Argentina?
True.
Okay, so yes, Argentina is experiencing a severe humanitarian crisis characterized by, but also how come we haven't heard about this?
Yeah, not to be like so woke that I swing back around, but like, is it because the people want this to be a strike against Trump? They want to use it as a reason to criticize him, which I mean, I'm all for. I'm not a Trumper or anything, but like, as the United States, the richest country in the world, I feel like there is a bit of responsibility to end suffering like this if this suffering is indeed happening.
I feel like Vice President Harris was really leaning into this, like, let's work really hard to end poverty in countries where we're getting an influx of immigrants from, so that way these people have better conditions where they are than needing to leave, right? Given the fact that we are an America First government, and given the fact that we have cut aid to feed multiple countries, I just have a hard time believing that his sole purpose for sending this money is humanitarian, because we just chose to withdraw billions in humanitarian aid to babies with AIDS or babies experiencing a famine. I can't believe anything he says.
Yeah. And I don't want to say that the fact that I maybe saw a spark of empathy from Trump for the first time in my life
you want to
means
fuck Trump
anything. Now? No. Not saying that means anything, but it was an interesting experience to feel, you know?
To feel those feelings. Like, wait, I feel like, and maybe that's how we know it's not real.
True. Truly.
Maybe that's how we know it's a manipulation, because you felt empathy for him, and we know that that's not real in the world. So there must have been some emotional manipulation.
Speaking of Trump, did you see the Time magazine cover? Yeah. So
what a beautiful photo.
Yeah, Time magazine put a photo that's pretty much a close-up shot of Donald Trump. It is from an upward angle, showing off, I think, what is colloquially called a nussie. A few years back on, like, I want to say like Tumblr and Twitter, there was the ussification, which is like anything like it. I think it kind of started with bussy.
Right, yes.
And now it's like anything can be ussified.
Can be ussified.
Including his neck. His nussie.
Yes, his nussie. And it is layers of lips. Do you know what I mean? Like, it is... that nussie had many babies. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That is a blown out.
Yeah. At the very least, it's insulting to actual vaginas.
At the very... No, that is, yes. I will say that my biggest favorite part of this photo, and I mean, I don't know who took this photo. We should find that out. Oh wait, Graham Sloan, Graemesloan, new hero. Because not only is it the worst angle ever, it's also a great shot of the ear.
I was going to say, I feel like people are missing the point because everyone's talking about how bad his hair looks. Everyone's talking about how bad his neck looks. But I feel like the point was the fact that his ear was the center of the photo and it is in perfect condition.
I don't see anything wrong with it. I don't even see I see maybe one could be a tiny little scar, but that's not from a bullet from a rifle that was able to shoot from that far away. I tell you what.
Yeah. And also like skin has the ability to regenerate in a sense. Like it usually causes scar tissue and stuff, but cartilage has absolutely no way to regenerate, which is what your ear is made out of. So like that you don't get your ear shot and then it goes back to looking like a normal ear.
Why is it that no one is talking about that? I mean, like people are talking about it like on TikTok, right? But that they're just, I mean, I guess because the Department of Justice is now completely corrupt and owned by this administration. Why is no one being like, hey, could we just look at that ear real quick? Because this feels a little bit fake.
I feel like the biggest reason why that is because in 2020, when Trump lost the election, there was so much insane conspiracy theories about how he actually won it. And like they push all these crazy conspiracy theories. And we were all like, that's so ridiculous. And at the time, I didn't quite think so. But now I'm like, that was just so we couldn't do it moving forward.
No, I do believe that wholeheartedly. I believe that, you know, they say that like whenever somebody breaks up and they're like, oh, they're accusing somebody of abuse, that means that there's a really good chance they're also abusive or like something along those lines. It feels like that to me. It feels like they threw everything at us so that way when they were doing those things, they were projecting everything. And it rings true as far as grooming too, right? Like, oh, the queers are grooming. No, you are grooming with your religion and with your Jesus camps and with your day schools and with your homeschools and like and with your purity rings and with your daddy, I don't want to say daddy daughter dance, but like that's sometimes weird. You know what I mean? Like
sometimes,
it's not the dances as much as all the father-daughter dances that I knew of would kind of in the South would come with like this purity ring thing or like just something that's like still this like your daddy's in ownership of your body until your husband's in ownership of your body thing that happens in.
It's also like don't have sex with other boys, just dance with me. It's like okay.
Anyway, but the point is that thou doth protest too much is really what I'm getting at, and they do project a lot.
Yeah, and it's also like he had all these claims of election denialism around the 2020 election, and now that who knows whether they're true or not, there's these what are seemingly clues that maybe this past election there was people that were what's the word, finagling. But now if you say that, Republicans just go, oh, well, Trump said that in 2020 and you just said he was lying. So it's like it's like the left can't say that there was anything wrong with this past election because it's just like, oh, well, Trump did that and you said blah, 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 blah. And it's just like, okay, I feel like he does something first so that when we do it in reality and in truth, it reads just as fake as when he did it.
I want to talk about boots.
Oh, yeah.
I want to talk about boots because the Pentagon fucking talked about boots. So if you were with us last week, we talked about boots. And I think I said it was in the 90s. It's not. This guy entered the military in 1979. I was watching an episode last night in preparation.
You're like, oh, 25 years ago.
Yeah, no, exactly. I was watching an episode last night. I was like, oh, I need to watch more because I want to like see where this is going and be able to talk about it. And they showed a car and I was like, oh, no, this is not the 90s. This is
right.
Before that. But if you don't know Boots, written about a guy named Greg Cope, who wrote a book called The Pink Marine, and it's about his experience entering the Marines, and I'm only in boot camp so far, as being a closeted gay person, and the federal government of the United States, the Pentagon, the most serious of our federal government. Like if you're like, wow, who's the most disciplined? You would think the Pentagon. The Pentagon made a statement against, quote, woke culture because Netflix dare produce a story about an actual person who became a Marine who was gay. Like the fact that they're like, no, there are no gay Marines. Get the fuck out.
Right. Yeah, obviously there's so many things to be frustrated about and dislike, but one of the more pettier things that I miss from previous administrations is the fact that they seemed like they were operating at a level above anything that I would operate in, and now they're like commenting on Netflix shows and like really getting into they're just on every bit of the cultural zeitgeist that they think is part of them. And for me, it's just like, I feel like anyone working in the US government shouldn't have a Netflix account because they're like too busy.
I do expect the federal government, people who work for them, to have enough time to watch Netflix. What I don't expect them to do is get involved with the bullshit that's literally there to distract us. Listen, no, you guys, this is your game. No, this is us supposed to be doing this.
Right.
Mind your own, like, go fight wars or whatever.
Yeah.
And also, just this idea that they're calling it woke culture when it's literally a person's experience. Like, that's not. And the guy I wanted to look it up because I was like curious. Obviously, I just ruined the show for myself, for you people. But I looked it up. He was in the military for 6 years. Now I ruined it for you. But, he was in the Marines. Like, he didn't drop out of boot camp. The dude fucking made it and was a Marine for 6 years. And the most you can do when he tells his story, even though you've already banned transgender folks in the military, even though you're already making it really uncomfortable for the LGBTQ community to exist within the ranks of the military, now you need to shit on an ex-Marine too, and that's America first.
Yeah, and also say that his story isn't legit, isn't worth being told, isn't true. Crazy.
Can I tell you something that's been eating at my brain for like 2 weeks now that I haven't talked about?
What else is this podcast for?
Right? The amount of people who don't understand what gender expression means. That, like, they hear this term and they're like, fuck that woke shit. And if you are somebody who believes in freedom, if you are somebody who believes what gender expression is and rules against gender expression, which is literally the government being like, you're not leaving the house like that. Like, it's literally the government telling you what clothes you can wear. And how your hair can be cut or not cut. And it's been driving me insane that the most conservative people I know hear the phrase gender expression are like, what the fuck is that? Wait, shit. And then when you just go, hey, Bubba, do you want anyone telling you can't wear your camouflage? No, you don't, because that's not America. America is you get to put on whatever clothes you want as long as you're not hurting nobody. You get to cut your hair however you want to. Honestly, you could do whatever you want to with yourself. That's America. That's freedom, right? And people are jumping on board to be like, I hate gender expression. Bitch, it's clothes. It's literally the government telling you how you can and cannot leave the house. And that is it's just blowing my mind that that's where we are.
Did you go to No Kings protests on
I did.
Saturday in P-Town?
I did go to No Kings in P-Town on Saturday. I will tell you that up until now, I went to some pro-Palestine marches here. I'm not a big protest person right now in the world. I am curious about how much it really does because I fear that our government is past a point of the elections are stolen or bought by corporate money. Once that happened, does our opinion really fucking matter? I don't think it matters how many of us show up in the streets. I think it just gives them ammo to figure out who the real libtards are. Right? Like, I will say that after going, it felt great to be surrounded by community for a few minutes, et cetera, right? So I'm one of those problematic white ladies, I guess, who I did go to the thing. But then also, I'm a little more radical than that, and I'm not really convinced it's getting a lot done unless we're actively signing up voters. Or does that even matter? I don't know, man.
Right.
Did you go?
I did. I stopped by the one at Berkeley College. Berkeley College? UC Berkeley? Is that a thing?
Yeah.
Yeah. It was beautiful. Basically, what I imagine is the powers that we're trying to speak to and against when we do things like this. When there is a scheduled start and stop time for a protest, all they have to do is put their fingers in their ear and go la 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 until it's over. And then they can be like, okay, it's over. We can pretend like it never happened.
Yeah, I mean, it's that theory, that idea of, oh, your protest that you got a permit for to make sure that it operates in this way and this way, and that you kick off at this time and you end at this time, and that you don't have amplification that yes. The permitted protest.
Yeah. I feel
That
like the idea of protesting, it has to be inconvenient. It has to like grind the wheels to a halt to a certain extent to be noticed and to have impact.
Here's a thought on that. I think that you don't get to that without this. I think that it takes some conditioning. If you're going to stage a general strike, you need multiple large rallies leading up to it where people are getting the idea of taking to the streets. That's the only thing I've been able to think of that I think could be the part I'm missing about all of this. Is that, is this something like, are we building to a larger general strike? And if so, you don't get the average person to it. Once you start getting the people, I guess even me, who like I'm a little informed, but I'm kind of on the fringe of it all, to start showing up to these things, does that mean that, we're closer to people walking out of their jobs all on one day? Are we are we kind of building that muscle of community resistance by getting these numbers that we're getting?
Yeah. I mean, I do think something like a general strike is going to be something that would be far more impactful, but it's the people that you'd be striking against have already set up a situation to make a general strike almost impossible. It's like, to be able to not go to your job and to not make money is a bit of privilege. And there are so many people who couldn't afford to not go to their job for a day.
I think that that is very real. I know that's very real. What I've been thinking about lately is, if we could get people to do it, watching those systems break down and then seeing what mutual aid springs up. Right? Because there is a trust in humanity that, would more people actually get fed during a general strike? Right?
Totally.
There is this, obviously, the great conundrum of the landowners and who can kick people out of their homes, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But I'm just really interested. I'm starting to believe more in the power of collective to be able to catch its own than I am in the oppressor's ability to like destroy it all. I've turned a corner. She's feeling peppy. She feels like the people can take it over. But I don't know. I just think that there's got to be something, and I do think the only way to hit hard is a general strike, and that will mean that those of us who have more need to give to those who have less.
What about a rent strike?
I like that. How many evictions can they process at a time?
It takes like 6 months to evict people. And if millions are doing it.
I mean, I guess we are at a housing crisis situation where a lot of the properties are owned by LLCs and just people with a bunch of money, and not. I guess when you said that, my first thought was, yeah, but someone's like Portuguese grandma might have a house that she bought with a double, and like the only way she can pay her mortgage is to charge a moderate rate to the person upstairs. And if they stopped paying that, is she going to lose her house on year 19 of a 20-year mortgage? Right? Like, so that was my.
I hear you.
The humanity in the trade. It's like, how do we hit the deepest pockets and make sure that the people who are literally just trying to get by, not everybody's charging 5 times their mortgage for rent. Some people are just trying to keep their head afloat,
Yeah. One thing about the No King's Day that I did give me pause was, obviously, whenever the left takes to the streets, there is this insinuation that it's violent. There's even rumors of people making it violent so that the entirety of the left can be painted with a broad brush of violence. And in response to that, there were people who began wearing these like blow up suits.
Yes.
You see this? And at first I was like, oh, genius. Because like, now, how are you supposed to argue that these people wearing inflatable dinosaur and frog costumes are violent? They're clearly not there to be violent. Yep. But I feel like it quickly lost that sense, and and some videos or pictures I saw of other No Kings protest, it felt like a costume party, like people wearing their funny blow up costumes and then like playing around.
I'm not gonna steal their joy. Like,
Okay.
number one, we're walking this line of should you have your face covered at these rallies? Number one. Number two, sarcasm, satire has always been the thing. It would be cool, I think, if moving forward, could we get a bunch of inflatable Trump babies, right? Like, can those be turned into costumes? I hear what you're saying in that, like, this is serious, it's not a party, but I also think there has to be some room for someone taking the piss out of people, right?
Mm.
And so that part doesn't bother me as much. I appreciate that part. They sold out of frog costumes. Amazon was like sold out of frog costumes.
But that's what I mean. Like, how much money did we give to Amazon as part of this No King's
Fair.
Day protest?
Touche.
You know, it's like, what are we doing?
Yeah.
I just feel like when it
The
comes
guys
to
in the frog is actually a Republican.
yeah, I just feel like when it comes to doing like the No Kings protest was one of the largest protests in human history. And it was for things like the abduction of people to be sent to what has been described as death camps in El Salvador and the cost of living crisis that is destroying people's lives. And now everyone's giggling in frog costumes.
When you put it like that.
That's what it is, though, you know?
Yeah. I could see it being difficult to take that seriously.
No, but it's also it's so hard. Like there's such a thin line of what we're supposed to be doing, how we can manage our own lives while we're doing those things. You know what I mean? I also understand your idea of like, oh, I don't want to take their joy away, because in these horrible moments, like you have to also find some sort of joy so that you can continue fighting. Did you get a chance to watch the New York City mayoral debate?
I did not get a chance to watch the entire thing. I have watched the highlighted clips.
Oh yeah, and highlights indeed.
Yeah. What was your favorite?
I mean, my favorite moment of the whole night is when, so basically Andrew Cuomo was making a point that Zoran Mamdani didn't have the experience to be able to handle this job. Once the conversation went back to Zoran Mamdani for a rebuttal, he said, if there is another pandemic, like the experience you're voting for is Andrew Cuomo, who sent a bunch of elderly people to their deaths in nursing homes. And this is the line that really got me. He said, what I don't have in experience, I make up for integrity. What you lack in integrity, you could never make up for in experience. Yeah. And he always looks so like happy and sweet and fun and friendly. And it went away for that second when he went, and you could never make up for. I was like, oh,
that's an appropriate time to start showing that you got some teeth.
Yeah.
Right.
But
like
I also feel like this does relate back to Janet Mills and Graham Plattner in the US Senate race out of Maine, because I feel like their only argument for her, like even when you look at her campaign materials now, all she is like my experience, my experience, my experience, and posing this as a dangerous idea, which is kind of what they always do with progressives as they're running. They're like, this is not the moment to test a progressive. We need people who have experience. We need people who know they can win elections. And I feel like that is the Democratic Party and the DNC digging their heels in and trying to fight against change. And it's kind of the only argument they have.
It's a blatant, like, death grip of power, right? Like they're just trying so hard to hang on. And this is now our Tea Party movement.
Mm-hmm.
Right. This is what the right did after Obama, and then that led to where we are now.
Right.
Like the core of this Trumpism started with the Tea Party.
Mm-hmm.
And the core of this democratic socialism should lead to a future where we have a more progressive candidate if the Democrats will stop eating each other alive. And by that, I mean, even outside of the established ones, just as a general whole, a little bit less purity testing, a little bit more. Like, I'm not saying that we don't need to have discussions. I'm not saying that things aren't wrong. But we need to like really figure out how to come together behind healthcare, food as a human right, housing as a human right. Bare minimum. Bare minimum.
I mean, I do agree with that, but I feel like whenever people say purity testing and kind of admonish it, I almost feel like that is always used as like a moderate Democrat talking point. It's always like, oh,
Did you just call me a moderate Democrat to my fucking face? It's a good thing you're across the country.
But I mean, like, so often, like, there is Cory Booker was on the I've Had It podcast, and she was like, have you taken money from AIPAC? He's like, I mean, barely any. And she was like, $800,000. He's like, yeah, but that's not a lot. And I mean, this purity testing, it's like, we have to have values as well. And I feel like the candidates and the people that are always like, oh, let's not purity test. It's not let's not purity test so that we can all come together. It's let's not purity test so that I can still be in charge. And let's all come together as long as you're all in line behind me.
I agree with that. I do agree with that. But I do also still think we like to eat our own, whether they deserve it or not. Are we saying that? And I don't. And this could be true because I don't know. AOC has no PAC money at all. Bernie has like I would need to know more about the campaign finances to know if that is a lot of money.
Yeah,
right?
I mean, I'm just using that as an example.
No, right. But I do think that there is this moment of like, how do you compete with funding at that level if they're all taking it and we're not?
I think it's such dirty money.
Which what I just said is a very moderate Democrat thing to say.
But also, if $800,000 is nothing, give it back. Like, take a stand, say, I'm not going to take money from the Israel lobby, because that's what AIPAC is. And because I'm not taking money from a foreign government's lobby, so that when I win an election, I am now beholden to a foreign government, because that's what it is. A few other moments from the New York City mayoral debate was, it's crazy. They asked them all their rent, how much they pay for rent. And Zohran Mamdani said he paid $2,300 and he lives in a rent control apartment in New York. And Andrew Cuomo's response to that is like, yeah, he pays $2,300. That should be a poor person should be living there.
Wait, what?
He said that's a poor person should be living there. I mean, the standard,
so out of touch.
Yeah, the standard for a rent affordability is 3 times your income. So if the rent is $2,300, it's $27,600 a year times 3, which is like the affordability factor, as I know because I'm looking at apartments right now.
Right.
To be considered as someone who can afford that apartment, you would have to make $83,000 a year. Does he know how many people make less than $83,000 a year?
And being able to afford that apartment, making $83,000 a year, is not really viable if you also have to have health insurance.
Yeah.
Because health insurance is like $800, $900.
Right. I love that Andrew Cuomo said that, like, yeah. Andrew Cuomo said he never had a job. He's like, Zohran Mamdani has never had a job, and then was like, he pays too little for rent. I'm like, does he not have a job, or does he pay too little for rent? In which Zohran responded, he said, if you think the problem with New York's affordability crisis is that I pay too little for my rent, then vote for Andrew Cuomo. But if you know the New York affordability is like he's suggesting that Andrew Cuomo should unleash my landlord's ability to raise my rent. They also asked them how much they spend on groceries a week, which Andrew Cuomo hasn't stepped foot into a grocery store in decades.
I did see that, and everybody was like 125, 150, something like that, right? I did not see. What did Zohran say?
He said 150.
Yeah, they have no idea.
Yeah.
Also, does Andrew Cuomo live by himself?
I don't know. I don't think he lives in Manhattan. He doesn't live in New York.
Since we're on the New York City mayoral campaign, I do want to just ask you: have you uncovered Mamdani's rap history?
So, I saw a video where it was like a late night talk show or something with like a panel.
Yeah.
And they said to this woman, they're like, "Oh, do you know what he did in his past?" And she's like, "Don't say it. Don't say he was a rapper. Please don't say he was a rapper." And they're like, "He was a rapper." And then they play the clip, and her response was, "Uh-oh, I kind of like it."
Not only was he a rapper, it was all like Indian food based and dedicated to his grandma.
So
and like
cute.
it didn't mean he didn't swear. He swore in it. But so do yourself a favor, go watch a Mamdani rap video because the flow was good, the lyrics were tight, and the content was hilarious.
Work.
All the more reason to appreciate somebody who creatively blended loving his grandma's cooking with low-key gangster rap.
Yeah. And,
So
totally. The biggest takeaway that I took away from the New York City mayoral debate was, though, is like, this is what we should have.
Yeah.
It's been 15 years of us being like, which candidate seemed more coherent on stage?
Yeah.
And like, this is what you get when you have people, not to be ageist, but like in the prime of their life, in the prime of their cognitive function, who have lived the majority of their life in the current world.
Yeah.
People like Andrew Cuomo haven't lived in the world with the world's problems in decades.
Correct.
Andrew
and
Cuomo
never did. Never
Right.
did. His dad was like, this is a legacy fucking situation.
Right.
Mario Cuomo ran the state forever. Like, this is all.
I just feel like every debate should be like, we live in the richest, one of the most educated populaces in the world, yet the candidates that we're voting on to run the country are bumbling fucking idiots. It should be an embarrassment of riches when it comes to the intelligent, well-spoken, thoughtful, empathetic, compassionate people who want to take on a civic role to make our country a better place. It should be an embarrassment of riches when it comes to those kind of people. And those people exist, and we just have to put them into positions of power and allow them that space by removing the people who we're literally watching stroke out on camera. It's so insane.
10 out of 10, no notes. Anyway, I think that's it. Make sure you like, subscribe, share with your friends.
Yeah. Review. We'll figure it out. Oh, our TikTok hit 1,000 followers today.
Oh, we were 2 away when I checked this morning. Yay, yay, great job. Great job.
If you're not one of those followers, head on over to TikTok. We post little clips of this, little digestible things. And what I think the most fun part about it is the discourse that happens in the comments. I love one of the posts we posted this past week. Someone said, "I'd love to hear you talk about this more." And I was like, we have a whole podcast. Listen
Where can
to
I find
the
this?
episode.
Where can I find this?
Yeah.
Okay, great. Well, Harrison, I love you. I hope you're having a great time
too.
in San Francisco. And we'll see you next time. Love you.
Yeah, queerly. Have fun on your June tour.
Thanks.
Bye.
Bye.
Queer is in.